It's exactly 9 o'clock in the studios of Classic 105.5 and 105.9 on the FM band. Welcome to The Point for today, the 7th day of the month of December. I'm Joseph Cadore, and thanks for being part of the broadcast. I say good morning again and welcome to those of you that's joining via the GBN television platform, GBN Channel 7, Channel 11, and Channel 20 if you're in cable, or via the World Wide Web at www.gbn.gd, our Facebook page or YouTube channel. My guest this morning from the Royal Grenada Police Force, Corporal Sam, Wilbert Sam, and this morning the conversation we're touching surround the issue, the challenge of Praedial larceny. What is it? How do we deal with it? What are the challenges as we inch closer to and deeper into the Yuletide season? Good morning, Corporal Sam. Welcome to the program. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Joseph. I'm all right.
Great. I'm happy that you're here with us and being part of the program. Praedial larceny, it isn't a new conversation in respect to the topic, but let's assume that it is for a split second. And when we talk about Praedial larceny, what exactly are we referring to? Corporal? We seem for some reason to have lost communication visuals with Corporal Sam. To the point in the morning time, and certainly we say thanks to those of you that have joined us. We take a quick commercial break, though. Quick commercial break to resolve that seeming technical problem. I'll be back with you in just a short.
Let's get tough on Praedial larceny. It will destroy our economy. Larceny threatens our food security. Can hurt us locally, hurt us globally. To all the buyers, ask for license from all produce sellers. To all the people, 100 for police for them thieving fellas. To all the families, don't steal produce from your brother. Then you sell it to traffickers, hotels and street vendors. Nah, man. Let's do all we can to stop Praedial larceny. New vigilance, new laws, and a tough judiciary. Stop Grenada's organized business crime. It's time.
To report Praedial larceny, call 300.
Thank you. Welcome back to the program, and I do apologize for that short break there in transmission. Thank you. Welcome back, Corporal Sam. Thank you again, and welcome to the program. We can never assume that everybody knows what we're referring to when they hear Praedial larceny. We know what exactly is Praedial larceny?
Well, just to break down, to separate the Praedial from the larceny. Praedial means any agricultural produce, fruits and vegetables, and larceny means the stealing. So therefore, Praedial larceny is the stealing of agricultural goods and services.
Right, and that's plain and simple. It doesn't matter from where, from whom. Once the act is committed, it goes under. It's captured under the Praedial larceny Act. Okay, what can you tell us about it? How much of a problem is Praedial larceny in Grenada?
Well, Praedial larceny in Grenada currently now is a major issue for farmers, especially persons who are using farming produce as the means of employment. The act of Praedial larceny goes way back, time of history, right? Persons used to just enter people's property, just steal. For instance, you have a sporting event. One would just enter somebody's property, go take a mango, go take an orange, and whatever. And because of the issue and the problem that the farmers were facing then, the government of the day would have enacted a law to protect the farmers. Yeah, and that is where the Praedial larceny Act came into being.
Before we get into it, we're going to talk about the act and the specifics of it. But the act, is it specific? Do we see there's just separation? We in our culture, we're a small knitted society, and I'm sure we've all, at some point in time, on your way to or from school, you're in a neighborhood, you run into the neighbor's land, you pick two oranges or mangoes, and for the purpose of consumption, you consume that right there and then. Does that comprise Praedial larceny, or is it much more detailed than that?
Well, Praedial larceny has two entities, and that is stealing for sustenance and stealing for trade. Now, what you speak about is stealing for sustenance. Now, we have to understand that larceny is stealing, right? And stealing goes to the fact that, okay, if one does not give you permission to take his or her item, then you would have stolen it, right? Now, the individual would have entered the garden belonging to James and take an orange. James gave him permission to take that orange, therefore he steals it, therefore he committed a crime. Now, even if you take, for instance, a simple seed from that particular person's garden, you are committing Praedial larceny because he or she did not give you that permission. Because you must get the consent of the owner of the item in order for you to gain access to it. Yeah.
Now,
so even if you're saying that, okay, I am hungry or I am thirsty and I want to eat, I want to enter somebody's garden and take a watermelon, or enter somebody's garden and take a golden apple. If the person did not give you authority to take that particular fruit or vegetable, you are committing Praedial larceny.
So you have to agree with me then, I'm assuming you would have to agree with me, that the act of Praedial larceny is something that is run deep in our veins of our Grenadian society. In the context that it's part of our culture, who we are. You're on your way from school to school, it literally almost becomes second nature. School's out, so young boys just go roving, doing what they have to do.
Yeah. But you see, I like when you use the word culture. And that is what we need to break in the minds of the people when it comes to Praedial produce. Now, you might be sitting in your home, and here comes this individual passing with a bag of mangoes, right? The mangoes might be looking good, it might be looking juicy, it might be looking eatable. You ask that individual, can I purchase this mango? He said to you, no problem. Give me $1 for the mango. You knowing that the mango does not worth $1 because of the cheapness of it, and because of the availability of it, you take that mango, and you did not even ask that individual, where did that mango come from? Do you have land where the mango tree was planted? Is the mango your mango? And this is a culture that we are seeing since time immemorial, that persons do not ask the people who are selling the agricultural produce any questions because we like convenient. We do not want to go to the market to purchase the item from the farmer. The person brings the item to us at home and we question it. And sometimes the same mango that we would have purchased from that individual might be coming from my tree or your tree. Because we didn't ask them any questions. So that is a culture that we, the Praedial larceny officers, are appealing to persons, especially now around the Christmas season, where yams, dashings, sweet potatoes, all of these things are in abundance, and persons love to eat these kinds of vegetables. Right? We are appealing to the people. Ask the persons questions. Find out the source of where they get their item, so that at the end of the day, the farmer who is affected by that particular predator or that particular beast. You see, we are not only looking at the beast when it comes to sexual offenses. We are looking also at the beast when it comes to Praedial larceny, because that individual do not care. It is not his concern about who planted, the suffering of the farmer. Sometimes he has to wake up early in the morning, jog water, At the end of the day, he has to spend hours toiling the soil. That predator does not even want to understand that. Or what he sees something that he can take and go make a money, or you see some things that you can take, buy, chew, and cause the farmer to be unrest.
I mean, when you put it that way, it certainly makes a very good case for that change in culture, because we assume, and sometimes we take it for joke, for granted. You see, your children, they come home with fruits. Where you got that from?
Right.
I got it from Mr. So and so. Do we ever bother to ask them the follow-up question? Did he give it to you?
Right.
And if the answer is no, and I guess that's what's helping to give rise to that culture where we just take things that does not belong to us. In short, Corporal, it is stealing, plain and simple.
Yes, it is stealing.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it is or the amount.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't matter the amount. Yeah, because stealing does not take in consideration how much was stolen, but because of the act of stealing, that is where the offense comes in. So whether or not it might be one breadfruit or it might be a bag of breadfruit, a crime has been committed, yeah, and the person did commit the act of Praedial larceny.
So having established that, now let's take a look at the act itself. Give me some information on the act.
Well, the Praedial larceny act is you can find it in volume 11, yeah, of the Laws of Grenada, chapter 250. Yeah, and it has a number of sections, a number of offenses that goes with it. Yeah. Praedial larceny itself is an offense, but it falls under the Praedial larceny Act.
Right.
Now we have offenses such as vagrancy, unlawful possession, dishonestly receiving, damage to crops, malicious damage to crops. Then we have damages caused by an animal, and so forth. Yeah. The law was prepared to protect the livelihood of the farmer, right? Therefore, the law in itself looked at the situation of the farmer then and now, and would have put things in place to protect them. So therefore, if a man pick a fruit from a tree, then you have Praedial larceny. If a man enters somebody's garden without the permission of the owner, then he commits vagrancy. If a man knowingly knows that the fruit that the person is about to sell for him or her, he did not plant that particular fruit, then he committed the act of dishonestly receiving. Right? If a man, knowing that I have potato slips planted at that particular place in my garden, and would have went there and tied his or her animal, yeah, then the animal goes and eat that particular potato slips, then he commits the act of allowing his animal to damage or cause damage to that particular potato slips. Yeah? Or if, per se, that I know that myself and my brother is in dispute, and we have a tree planted in the garden, and I just go, and because of frustration and rage, I go and I cut my brother's tree, then he or she commits the act of malicious damage.
That's quite the act itself. Under the act, it seems to be as it's very specific, and it is detailed in nature.
Yes, definitely, it's a very detailed act.
How up to date is it, though?
Well, it was revised in the last revision that is in process now. Is an act to include, as we say, our green gold source of, yeah, and the protection of the source of, and so forth. But the last revision was in 2010, where the law in itself considered different aspects of the Praedial larceny Act to not only cause the farmer to be happier, but to cause the farmer to be satisfied in the penalties, in the fines, and so forth when it comes to the Praedial larceny Act.
So we've highlighted the act. What in your estimation, because there's a separate unit that is tasked with identifying, addressing, and curbing the problem. What are some of the trends that you've come to realize in terms of why people commit the act?
Okay, let's talk about the sustenance part of it, right? As everything that you do, there is a balance. Yeah. Now, persons seize opportunities to, for instance, if they are hungry or if they are thirsty, to go and enter one's garden and steal. Yeah. For instance, a man might be walking on the road, he might see that juicy mango on the tree. He picks a stone, he pick it, he suck it, he eat it. Yeah, without the owner's consent. Then you have the other part, which is the trade part, which is the one that has affecting the farmers in a huge way, because now he or she goes with bags, buckets, containers of items belonging to that farm. Now, one would steal for trade because there is a sustaining entity that he or she can go to and trade. So he picks the goods and then he trade the goods with that person for money. Yeah, and that is the fuel that causes people to do it over and over again. Because once they get that mechanism, that if I go and I take that particular fig or blogger from that individual, I have a place where I can sell it. Right? If we cut out the part where he has that place to sell it, then he or she cannot eat a bunch, or he or she cannot eat a bucket of mangoes. So what he would do, he would take it and throw it away.
Right.
Yeah. So therefore, once we eliminate the fact that, okay, I can gain money, I can gain revenue from that particular habit that I have, because it's not a trade, it's a habit that I have in going and take farmers' stuff from the garden and bring it to the market, bring it to the vendor, bring it to the trafficker, and even bring it to we as consumers, where we can in turn give you money for that. Then obviously the problem would be erased or would cease, because now I cannot gain business from that trade.
So in your estimation, dealing with the problem, it must be a multi-pronged approach. One, educating individuals on what the law says,
right,
in terms of those who commit the act, and then there are those who they're accomplice to the crime, in terms of those who purchase. Right.
And Mr. Joseph, one of the problems again that we as Praedial Larceny officers face is that most of our farmers, right, do not give the persons who come to buy the agricultural produce from them a receipt. Yeah? And the receipting process is in the law, because in section 13 of the Praedial Larceny Act, it speaks to once the item is 15 pounds and over, it is the farmer's responsibility to give the individuals who come into purchase the agricultural produce a receipt. And even if the farmer do not have a receipt, the persons who come into purchase should have a receipt book, therefore to give the farmer a receipt for the monies or for the goods that he or she would have given to them. Yeah, and this is one of the major problems that we are faced now, in that when you go out there, you see a man with a bucket of lime, he tell you get it from Farmer Joseph. Yeah? Where is the receipt that Farmer Joseph gives to him? He do not have it. And that is one of the means that the perpetrators are using now to create that problem that we have in Praedial Larceny. Because we cannot prove that he got it from Mr. Joseph. Therefore, now we will have to go to Mr. Joseph's farm to verify that Mr. Joseph indeed gave him the bucket of limes. But if Mr. Joseph would have given him a receipt with his name, his address, his telephone number, and the quantity and the price that he we would have paid for that line, then we would not go through the process of verification. All we need to do is to call, because we would have gotten all the information. Yeah?
What if I say to you, Officer Corporal Sam, well, I didn't steal it from any established farming area, but in Grenada, there's fruits, as they say locally, lap and cut. And we all know areas we've grown up, which doesn't necessarily, in our mind, have an owner. So all we know is that historically, we go there and we pick fruits for the purpose of retail. Does the law take that into consideration?
Well, all the lands belongs to the government of Grenada. Yeah, we know that. Yeah. If it is not individually purchased, or it is seemed to be abandoned property that do not have an owner, therefore the land belongs to the government of Grenada. Me and you and everybody else have a piece. I have that I wouldn't say authority, but has that allowing to go into the government of Grenada's land and pick fruits for our sustenance. Yeah? Now, you cannot go into that land and pick or dig a bag of yam and intend to come and sell it for me.
Right.
Yeah? You cannot sell what does not belong to you.
Okay.
Even if it is not owned by Mr. Joseph, but it is owned by the government and people of Grenada. Therefore, you cannot just enter and just take the bag of yam and come and sell it to me to gain a profit for yourself. You're supposed to in turn, come and give me. I hope you understand this.
No,
give me.
And I'm liking the way that you're saying it. And while it may sound comical, it is the harsh reality. You cannot sell, whether or not you figure it is owned by John Public or whoever, or the government. You cannot sell. The principle here being, you cannot sell or you cannot transfer any item, whether or not it's in the context of agricultural produce or anything. You cannot acquire any item and then transfer it to another person for the purpose of sale, because it isn't yours. And under the Act, it is plain and simple that you cannot.
Yeah, but because that is in turn, we often use the term unlawful possession, because nobody gave it to you. Yeah, although it belongs to the people of Grenada. Yeah, nobody gave you the permission to go there and take all of that.
Right.
Yeah. No. You goes and you go and you dig what we call bush yam. And I often on this medium say to people, there is nothing called bush yam. You did not plant that yam. Yeah? You did not ensure that yam gain or become enough so that he or she can eat it. You did not do that. Yeah? The elements of the weather may have done that.
Right.
Yeah? Right? And you go and you dig. You're not digging because you're hungry. Eh? You're digging because you want to sustain a trade. Yeah? And you go and you dig. And sometimes we people, we don't even think about, okay, when I cut the yam, let me just plant that in here.
Right.
Because sometimes next season I want it. Probably I may want it another time.
We're not thinking that far ahead.
We don't, and at the end of the day, we just go with it. Yeah? And we intend to come next year and get yam from that same bank.
And I guess if we return and we do not get, then we move on to the next unsuspecting person.
To another plot. And then you have lands where it is owned by somebody. But because you find that the land is bushy and it's not taken care of, you figure that it is not owned by anybody. And sometimes the individual who plant that particular fruit knows that his fruit is on his property. And you go and you take that fruit from his property. Or probably sometimes the person is overseas. and they don't have anybody here to take care of the land. And
Right.
you goes and you take items from that land without the permission of the owner. You cannot give a good account of how you come in possession thereof because you did not purchase it or it was not given to you by the farmer. Yeah? Therefore, you would have committed the act of unlawful possession. Yeah? And this is the thing that now in this season, most of the perpetrators are using that medium. Yeah? Because just last night, we would have received a report where this individual would have dig up a farmer's yam that he or she thought that the land was abandoned. Now that farmer goes to his plot, hoping this morning now to find that yam bank that he would have planted. And behold, the yam bank is devastated. If you see the condition of that particular plot, Mr. Joseph,
Right.
it brought tears to not only the farmer's eyes, but it brought tears to that investigator's heart. No.
Corporal, we seem to have lost your visual and your audio. But what?
Where that particular land was located, the farmer would have had to jog water, yeah, for at least a mile away to stop this particular land.
Indeed, it is a problem that definitely, from all reports and indication, is becoming a growing, continues to be a threat to our farming industry. 25 minutes gone past the hour. We take a quick commercial break. When we come back, though, Corporal, we talk about exactly how dealing with the problem in terms of penalties and punishment, and we look certainly at what are some of the trends in addressing the problem as it relates to the introduction of technology into helping farmers and law enforcement address the problem of Praedial larceny. We'll take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. Times are hard, and your vehicle is your investment. Let it work for you. Get a wheel alignment from Premium Auto Services and enjoy greater fuel efficiency, smoother ride, improved steering, reduced repairs, and longer-lasting tires. Make that call today, 439-4000, or just visit them on the Calavini Main Road. Don't forget to ask about their 20% special discount and all new tires. Premium Auto Services, your one-stop auto repair center.
It's the season to give, and Granlec invites you to give a gift of love and light to someone in our community who has been challenged by COVID-19. Make your account current and nominate someone for a chance to win. 200 winners will be gifted with a $400 grocery voucher or a $75 electricity voucher. If we select your entry, you too will win. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion runs November 24th to December 24th. Give a gift from Granlec this holiday.
Thank you. Welcome back to the program. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're live.
A person, good morning to you.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
I've been listening very carefully to this discourse. And as far as I can see, Praedial larceny is like a lie. So it is all kind of adjectives I can use to describe it. And you would never be able to get rid of Praedial larceny. And I give a few hints. A man lives 2 miles away from his garden. That's in the outer parish and so on. We have people who probably be living in the town of Sotes, Gov, Victoria, etc. And the land is up in the mountain, as we see. There's so many things that can happen while that farmer is at home. He hasn't visited his plot. And as a result of that, this would continue. I think, apart from the law, there has to be some almost stringent, what I would call it. I wouldn't say law, but stringent lookout, if I might say that. And even though you have someone to look after your land, I mean, there's always the time. And I don't know what could be done to it, but I am seeing this thing is here to stay, and generation after generation, we still be having Praedial larceny. It is a pity that farmers go in, labor into the land, and when the time comes to get the produce, they just see a hole or the fruit trees empty, and the signs that people have been picking the fruits and whatnot. I don't know. I mean, I don't have a on-the-spot suggestion for this, but something has to be done whereby people can take better care of the land, bring probably the house closer, and that's a practical impossibility. So the police has a hard job to do, and how to get rid of this, I don't know. But
okay.
This is my view of the whole thing.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
A contribution coming via social media, Corporal. This is a practical scenario. So you've clearly outlined that once you go to the premise, you take something that does not belong to you, either steal it, point blank. So I meet somebody in my property, we get into an altercation, I cause injury to them. How does the law deal with that?
Mr. Joseph, first we have to understand what is called justified use of force. Okay?
Right.
Because, for instance, if that particular predator or that particular person who is found on your property do not have a cutlass, do not have a knife, only came down from the tree with the fruit in his hand, why would you take a cutlass and cut off his hand? Yeah? If that person is found on your property and is not coming towards you, yeah, to cause your life to be in danger, then and is running away from you, why would you take a gun and shoot him? So I'm just using those two scenarios to say that the individual who takes the individual's life must have to justify the force used, yeah, and would have to use all other medium, and that is the only medium he or she has to use in order to protect his life or her life and the property that he.
But do you think, officer, I meet somebody on my premise, and I understand what you're saying clearly, but you think you meet, in the average case, you meet an individual on your premise who there for definite ulterior motives. You think 9 out of 10 they would want to engage in a civil conversation with you? You think they would want to have dialogue with you?
Well, Mr. Joseph, we have experience as the Praedial larceny department. Reports come in which suggest that particular nature, that the individual would have had a civil conversation with the perpetrator, yeah, and would have called the police, or would have called somebody else to call the police, and while waiting for the police to arrive, would have had a mutual conversation with that individual. Now, there are situations where the farmer would have seen the perpetrator on his street and would have called the police before engaging the individual, and waited until the police come, while the individual would have picked all the fruits, placed it in a bag, and was intended to leave when the police comes and found them on the property. There are situations where the farmer himself, a hustler, would have engaged the perpetrator, would have engaged in physical fight,
right,
Mr. Joseph, the perpetrator, and would have conquered him or her, tied them up, and waited for the police to arrive. We have also have scenarios, Mr. Joseph, that where the farmer, based on the perpetrator, in him scaring that farmer, would have never engaged him to capture image to us, so that that person can be investigated.
Interesting.
There are many situations.
Just hold the line for me. I have a caller that's waiting. Good morning, caller. You're live.
There are many situations that would cause.
Hello, caller. Good morning, caller. We seem to have lost it. So what would you determine should be the more immediate course of action in that given circumstance?
So what the individual should have done is not allow himself to take the law into his own hand. What he should have done is that use some source of medium to contact the Praedial Larceny officers and contact the nearest police station, so that matter could have been attended to, than him, in looking at the situation, got frustrated, look at what he would have done prior to causing himself to harvest that produce.
But Corporal, but while I understand that, but sometimes you could reasonably understand. I mean, I am farming for my own survival, to take care of my family. Individuals, they've done it once, twice, 3 times. I go to my land, wherever it is, and I see 3 individuals with 3 bags trying to make their way out of my garden. What should I do? Do I need to determine whether or not they are armed to try to stop them and make a call and allow them to walk out with my hard-earned produce, and then the law doesn't stand on my side?
Right. So what can happen, Mr. Joseph, is that you use a good term. I would have seen 3 persons on my property. So you have an idea who the persons are, right? You would have seen them walking away with 3 bags individually, 1 bag for each other, away from my property.
Right.
Now, 2 things. We are in technology. Now, that farmer may or may not have a cell phone that has a camera on it. He or she can take out the photos of the individual and can, when the officers arrive, can show him or her, these are the people. Or can have a visual look of the person, so that when the officer comes, he or she can be given a description of the individual or individuals then.
Okay.
So that the matter can investigate it. Instead of you as the farmer going and approach 3 individuals with 3 bags of produce, is not aware of what they have to protect themselves. No, you're causing yourself to be vulnerable because you do not have that protective mechanism to protect yourself against them. So in calling the officers now, you will gain that protection, that shield that will cover you, so that at the end of the day, the perpetrators can be found.
We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, go ahead, please.
How are you?
I'm wonderful, sir.
All right, thank you. Now, Praedial Larceny is a thing or from creation, according to what I know. Is a thing from creation. But what happened? It gets more extravagant now. Because why? We have too many of the young people don't decide to do anything, and we have people who in big position who encouraging it because they support them and making them believe what they're doing is right. Do you understand? But this is something from creation with the great Jehovah Jireh that was there, Right. And no matter what it be. But I want to say something to cut across the for a while, please. We're talking about Praedial Larceny. I want to ask the Prime Minister and Mr. Gregory Bowen about my dividend share in cable and wireless. And they know very well who is speaking. It's a lot of years now. I'm not getting a letter. I'm not getting no word, and all who I could go to, nobody could give me an answer. All I have is a piece of paper in my hand, and my money jumping up in the but now I like Mr. Bowen and Mr. Kit Mitchell, the Honorable Prime Minister, to give me some information about it, please. So all is Praedial Larceny. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, sir. All the best to you. 435-2041, that's the number on the inside. And we say thanks to those of you that's joined us via the other social media platforms. We say thanks for being part of this engagement. Corporal, there is a unit. Let's talk about some of the efforts. But before we do that, though, I want to talk about some of the efforts that the unit is employing, including the use of technology and Farm Watch program to address the issue. But before we do, we go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning, your life.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Cadore.
Good morning to you.
Yes, Mr. Cadore, he's stealing. The Bible tells us from the beginning, thou shalt not steal. The reason that people do steal is not because of anything except the nature, sin. The sin that we're dealing with sinful people, and they will do sinful things. So all the laws cannot stop sin. All the punishments would not stop sin. Because we have people who are repeated criminals. They do something, they pay the penalty, they go on and do it again. It's because of the nature of sin, and it is time that we learn to deal with the individual personality. Getting that person to get to know that they are sinner, and when they repent, they will change. They will change, because the Bible says, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creature. And if we want newness of life, if we want things to change, we got to get people to receive the gospel of Jesus Christ, get their soul saved, and get their life transformed. So we're just going ahead and over and over and over, and we're not hitting the nail on the head. We're just tonguing around it. But we need to get to the key thing is, sinner man will sin. And no matter how much love we make, he will sin. We need to get people to know that and to receive Christ, get their life transformed. Demons living inside of people doing a lot of evil things, and the people don't even know why they're doing what they're doing, but they just know they're doing. It's because we are not doing what we're supposed to do. People are supposed to know that they need Christ, and when they receive Christ in their heart, their souls are saved and they are transformed, and the problems are eliminated.
Okay.
But if we don't go down that way, we'll just be spinning top in mud.
Thank you very much. 435-2041, that's the number on the inside. Corporal, let's look at another caller on the line. Classic, good morning, you're live.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, well, I will do that certainly. The program on Praedial Larceny, I'm calling from St. David. And about a couple months ago, I called the police station in St. David. I called same board. I meet police in the street. And I've been telling them the amount of damage they're doing to my farm. They're rooting up my potato, they're rooting up the dashing, they're cutting down the spice tree. I block the road, they open it up when they want, how they want. I call the police more than 7 times in space of 6 weeks, and they never come one day. Never come one day. So I'm trying to figure out, what is Praedial Larceny? I don't understand. You're not getting help, you're calling, they don't come in. All they will say, okay, they come in and they report to me.
Let me ask you, sir, when you made that report, did you get the names of the officers that you made a report to? If in fact you made a report 7 times.
I said not it is fact.
No, I want to ask. I don't want
to call the police name.
No, sir. If you allow me, I'm just saying, in order to deal with the problem, if you're not getting the response you need, then at some point somebody has to take responsibility. So I'm asking, if you really want attention to be drawn to your issue, protecting the officers that's not doing their jobs is not going to help you. So I'm asking, if you've done that, then maybe you need to take it to the next level.
Okay, well, let me tell you, Sunday morning I was going up to my farm, I was going to do some farm watch, and I met the RRU. They was in a particular area, apparently they was serving some people some tickets.
I'm asking, did you get the names, any name of an officer that you can say, yes, I made a report to? Because I'm saying, I want us to be able to help you But if you don't have a name, or you can't recall, you don't know who you've spoken to, then somehow for action to be taken, you must be able to identify, yes, this is the person that I've spoken to. That's what I'm trying to ascertain.
I think he named. You want me to call him?
No. That's what you're getting the point. I'm saying, whoever that officer is, I'm certain he has an officer that's above him. Take it to the next level. Or what I can suggest to you. So here's what I can suggest. Take this number, and I'm going to give you. I know Corporal Sam would not mind. 423-1819. Give Corporal Sam a call.
423-18...
425, sorry. 425-1819.
1819. 425.
425-1819.
All right, well, I'll go and call him now about that.
Well, no, he's on the program with me, so you
call him. You could 1819.
1819, write it down. That's your direct number. You can call him at any time in the next 15 minutes.
So that is the person that is on the phone now?
That's the gentleman. That's who I'm speaking with now.
425, 1819.
You're not writing it down, are you?
Okay, well, what I can do is give you my number and let him call me.
Yes, but at the same time, you have a responsibility. Take the number down.
I take it, but I want to tell you, in case I didn't, I could give you my number. So give him the number, let him call me.
What's your number, sir?
449.
Yes.
9878.
449-9878, Corporal Sam. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, I mean, when the program finishes, I'll probably call him and thing because I'm on a cell phone.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, really?
Corporal Sam, and I think listening to the caller, sometimes because we live in these closed societies where we know one another, sometimes the only way to get the problem resolved is not necessarily in trying to, as they say, to screen anybody. But you have to take it to the next level. If we do the same thing over and over, we can't in any way anticipate that we're going to get a different result. In dealing with the problem, there is a unit. What can you tell us about some of the approaches that you've taken in an attempt to address the problem of Praedial larceny?
The unit is divided in. We have a representation of the unit in every division in the state of Guinea.
Right.
Every unit will deal with the particular scenario differently. Yeah. So we do prevent or patrols or farm visits. We do detection in terms of surveillance with stakeouts. Roadside vendors check, and so forth. In prevention, we encourage farmers to form farm watch bodies, neighborhood watch, body systems that will create that unity between the farmers. So, for instance, in the body system, what we encourage is that if a particular number of farmers are farming in a particular zone, that everybody do not visit the farm at the same time. Yeah? You stagger the big times so that at least there is a person in that particular zone that will look after area so that if persons would want to or have intention of would be deterred by farmers present in that particular zone.
What about the embracing technology?
Right. So the government of Grenada, farmers can log into in that when they are not on the farm, that device would look after that particular farm. That device would be that protective mechanism on the farm. Yeah, so that when the farmer returns, if anything went wrong at that particular time in his absence, he can use that device to know what happened on the farm.
But how accessible is that to farmers, though?
Well, it is very much successful, Mr. Josie. I mean, just in recent weeks, we had looked into a particular farm who was devastated for years with persons who entered this farm and stealing. And through that technology, we were able to find that person who would have been committing that particular crime for years and bring justice to that particular farm. So the device is working. And I want to take the opportunity to encourage every farmer. You don't only have to be doing farming as a business, but if you have that backyard gardening that person comes regularly and steals from, to log into that device, I am telling you, you would not regret it. And we can have various farmers come in and speak about how that devices are helping them as a means of getting habits in the product.
And no doubt that it will help, but I was more interested in ease of accessibility as it relates to the question of cost.
It is cost effective. Okay, for instance, Mr. Joseph, right? Let me give you that scenario. If the device would have cost you $100, yeah, and you have a particular produce that produces in abundance of more than $100 worth of goods in that particular season. Now, you choose not to gain that device because you figure that it costs $100, it costs too much money for you. But you are losing more than the $100 that you think that the devices cost in every season. Now, you go and you purchase that particular device. Now, you will see that turnaround because that is what the farmers are seeing with the devices. Yeah, they are seeing that turnaround in yielding in the product. Now, with the device, they are getting more of the produce than without the device.
What are some of the challenges that you've faced as a unit in getting farmers to embrace the technology? If you could just hold that thought there for me, and maybe let's entertain this caller as the last caller for the day. Good morning, caller.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm listening to your program with interest. But when you think in terms of the small island of Grenada, in all honesty, we can get rid of Praedial larceny. Number one, we have to be our brothers' keepers. Take, for instance, I had my weed eater in the yard. I went to St. George's to collect an item. I must have spent a half an hour. When I came back, the weed eater disappeared. Someone must have seen the person walking away with it. You know, I live here in Manjaloo, to be exact, and I'm farming on approximately 3 acres of land. But the frequency at which I have been having what you call people coming in and helping themselves, I have decided to give up farming. Whatever I can get, when I can get it now, I put it in my vehicle, I go to the villages, and I hand them out. I just gave out something in the region of 150 pounds of grind corn. Because, you know, what would I do with it? In all honesty, you see, I've lived outside for many, many years, and I've seen the way in which they have handled Praedial or robbery generally. And what you need to do really is you have a program once a week by the police. You tell the nation the number of reports you have had and what they are. And the following week, you tell the nation the people you have apprehended. You know, it is just ridiculous. Just about a week ago, I had lots of avocados. I picked some like today, and I gave them away. When I went back 2 or 3 days later, all the avocados and 2 or 3 other trees, they were all gone. Okay. I got one green one on the ground. Look, I went to the Central Police Office some years ago, and I gave them an idea with regards to how you can put some structures in place by having a police, not call it Farm Watch, but you do a program. And in all honesty, people would call in from time to time. But it's a lot of talk. As a result of this, I have given up farming altogether, period. No, you know, I just want to know. Anyway. Sorry to end it that way, sir. All the best. Have a good day. Take care. Corporal, we have just about 2 or 3 minutes left. We should comment on the callers, the thoughts shared, and then the issue of the challenges.
Mr. Tooth, I did not hear the caller.
Well, the caller was basically highlighting the fact that because of the challenge he's had with Praedial larceny, that he's been forced to give up farming in the Manjaloo area. So he was just sharing his experience. So I was just asking you if you could take the last few minutes before we wrap to just highlight some of the challenges as it is that you've realized in attempting to get the farmers to embrace technology as a means of addressing the problem?
Well, in everything that you do, once something new comes onto the market, people tend to get scared. They get scared because it's not a normal way of doing things. And they think that if they are going to invest in something, they need to see evidence that it's working. Yeah? They need to see that, okay, at the end of the day, if they are going to invest in that particular item, that it is beneficial to them.
Right.
So what we see coming out of the applications for the device is that persons are saying that they don't know whether or not it will work, or they don't know whether or not that will benefit them, because this is what I'm experiencing on that particular farm that I have. No, what I often say to them, you don't know. The only how for you to know whether or not it's going to work is giving it a try. Yeah? Remember, it is a pilot program that will have trial and errors. As we go along, it will be developed into a product that would satisfy every farmer's interest. But the farmers must get themselves locked onto the technology. It's an easy technology to work. You don't have to install. We have an installation crew that comes and install the devices on your farm. Explain from detail phase 1 to phase 5 of the device. Yeah, and it's a device friendly. Yeah, all the farmer has to do is to just follow the 5 steps that we are going to show him or her how to use the device. Yeah, with regards to the caller that spoke about, he is no longer interested in farming. Yeah, I will say to that caller, you are interested in farming. The problem is that you are fed up of the bitterness and the bruises that you are getting because you are not getting your product that you think that you should be getting in abundance. Therefore, persons are coming and steal your produce, persons are not giving you the chance to harvest your produce, and with all of that, you have become frustrated. No, farming is a livelihood, and farming is the way of life. Just as tourism. Tourism is a way of life for the people. Culture is a way of life for the people. Therefore, farming in a farmer's heart is the way of life of that particular farm. And even if he or she says that I am not going to use farming now as a way of business, but that farming attitude in him or her would always be there, and he would always think about going to that particular farm and plant something. So in a nutshell, yeah, he or she should not give up because of the deficiencies in the industry, but rather not, we collectively should be targeting, we collectively should be causing, should be creating that safe haven for that particular farmer. We meaning the RGPF, the government of Grenada, the farmer, and the consumer. All of us have that particular part to play in creating that avoidance of that particular perpetrator who have intention of committing crimes associated with the crimes against the farmer. So that at the end of the day, if he cannot gain money from what he stole, then he would not steal it. I am certain of that. And there is no apology for it. If he or she cannot get that money, he would not.
I thank you very much, and I do agree with you that it takes an all-hands-on-deck approach as we attempt to address the issue of Praedial larceny on island. Thank you, Corporal Wilbert Sam. All the best to you, and if we don't get a chance to speak again, happy holidays to you in advance. Folks, this is where we leave the conversation for now. As Corporal Sam says, we all have our part to play, simple as it may be. Until then, so long. JC loves you until tomorrow when we do this all over again. We're moving right along in the morning time. 'Tis the season to be happy. 'Tis the season to be joyful. Until 'tis the season when we get a chance to see what's happening out there as we inch closer to the holiday season. And that's up next on GBN Television and on Classic Radio. So long. Bye.